By this point in the war, everyone said it would be over by now. But obviously, with a war of attrition kicking in, that wasn't going to happen. But both sides thought it'd be over by now, so they might as well celebrate it. This is Christmas of 1914. Winter had kicked in, and both sides were sat in their trenches. Both had nothing to do, both were waiting for something to happen. But the British found something that happened. Over in the opposition's trench, they heard a common phrase: "Silent night, holy night." Obviously in Austrian, but I don't speak Deutsch. Now, many different units along the front took this differently. Some units joined in with the carolling. Some outright ignored it. Others responded to it by machine gun fire.
I'd also like to mention, which I didn't mention in the video, that the French had no intention of having this truce with the Germans, as they had lost Alsace and Lorraine to them, and all they cared about was beating them in this war. So I just thought I'd add that in. Okay, continue on past me.
But this was the beginning of something that was meant to last. This was the beginning of the Christmas Truce. Now, on the following day, the 25th of December 1914, some Germans shouted over to the British, "If you no shoot us, we won't shoot you." Which most of them complied. In other areas, the British, the British got up, hat in hand, arms in air, and just wanted peace. Both sides met in no man's land. And thus that day would be spent not with bloodshed, but with glory. Many soldiers traded things, many soldiers talked about sports, many soldiers talked about the people back home. But then there was the neglectful group. There would be the group that outright neglected this truce, didn't want anything to happen with it, like a Mr. Adolf Hitler. There would be officers who would kill their own troops over it. But there were troops who just didn't trust the Germans. Ones that wouldn't drink their booze or smoke their cigarettes in fear of being poisoned. But this day was not a day of fighting. Now, at the end of the day, or during the day, there would be artillery barrages to break up the truce. This was a war. This was not meant to happen, but the Pope let it happen. And many other officers at the end of the day went over to other German officers, saluted, fired a pistol into the air, and then walked back to their parapets. No man on that field would forget what happened that day. This day was significant, not just in the eyes of the soldiers, but in the eyes of everyone at home, showing that this was a war that the soldiers didn't want, but the leaders of the countries did want it. And that, my friends, is the Christmas Truce. Many truces just lasted on Christmas Day. Some even lasted all the way up to New Year's Eve. But let me know what you think about the Christmas Truce. And I will see you next time for the weapons of the German Empire.